In this video, we'll explore the incredible rig evolution that transformed Korda boss, Danny Fairbrass's fishing, and how it can improve your results too. The evolution of the shot on the hook rig, developed through underwater filming, has led to the capture of countless big carp for Danny and many other anglers. We'll walk through all the important details, tweaks, and lessons learned during the latest Korda underwater filming, and show how you can tie and apply this rig to your own fishing for more success. One of the biggest surprises found during filming was how important the color and buoyancy of your hook bait are. Different colors can really make a difference depending on the season and the water you're fishing. More importantly, was the buoyancy. Critically balanced baits didn't work as well as expected. The carp were wary of baits that moved too much, especially wafter baits that weren't firmly on the bottom. It was super important to camouflage the rig. The carp could easily spot rigs, especially near the leader or line, which made him avoid the hook bait altogether. The key takeaway here: camouflage. Break up the outline of your rig because there are no straight lines in nature, as Danny says. A well-camouflaged setup can make all the difference. Danny also learned from Tom Stokes' baiting pattern during the course of the filming period. Instead of using a spod or spalm, Tom used a catapult for an even spread, keeping the fish moving and increasing chances of hooking one. Regular baiting, especially when done right, kept the carp feeding longer and resulted in more bites. As for the lead systems, Tom Stokes was shocked to see his favorite helicopter lead setup failing repeatedly in front of the underwater cameras. This setup, which had worked on many tough UK lakes, was easily dealt with by the carp at Norton Disney. Switching to a lead clip helped, but Danny showed how an inline lead setup can still be incredibly effective, even though it's often overlooked. When fishing clear gravel spots, shorter hooklink lengths proved to be more effective than Danny initially thought. A stiff, short link, just 3 inches of boom material, meant that once the carp took the bait, there was little chance of ejecting it before the lead did its job. Often overlooked, the addition of an anti-tangle sleeve proved essential. It ensured that rigs laid straight and reset correctly after an ejection, keeping the hook bait in prime position. Danny added dark matter sleeves to eliminate unnecessary movement and increase his catch rate. Perhaps the biggest game changer was the now famous shot on the hook rig. By placing a small shot near the hook's barb, Danny ensured that the hook point stayed down, ready to grab flesh the moment the carp sucked the bait in. This setup left no room for error, and the fish hooked themselves instantly. There's no argument that the shot on the hook rig is probably as revolutionary as the hair rig was back in the 70s, but is this rig a newly developed concept, or was it just super evolved by Danny Fairbrass to be more efficient in hooking most if not every single carp that picks up this rig? You'll be surprised to know this rig's been around for almost 25 years, originally created by Frank Warwick and John Jones to present a pop-up or wafter really close to the lakebed. It's only recently gained attention again after being successfully used in Korda's latest underwater video to counter fish repeatedly ejecting the bait. So, how exactly does this rig work? The key feature here is the shot on the hook. While there are different versions of the rig, they all share the same principle. The split shot balances the hook bait and, when positioned just below the hook barb, makes the hook point heavier. This allows it to hang in a downward position and instantly grab the carp's bottom lip. And yes, when I say instantly, I mean it. Now, you might be wondering, does the shot interfere with hook penetration? No, it doesn't. Whether you use a version where the shot slides freely or one that's tightly secured, the hook will still perform effectively. Brands like PB products even offer ready-made weights that slide over the hook point, gripping it tightly. If you're using barbless hooks, just make sure the shot or weight is secure. Tying this rig might sound a bit tricky at first because it's not just one fixed setup. The shot can be applied to several rigs. Originally, the rig involved a long shank hook knotless knotted to coated braid, with a standard hair rig trapped on the shank. It used shrink tubing as a blowback and a shrink tube line aligner before kickers were even a thing. The result: the hook point and eye touch the lakebed, while the shank stays upright, perfect for fishing with pop-ups or wafters. These days, people have adapted the shot on the hook rig to newer setups like the uber-popular spinner rig. The flexibility is amazing. You can switch between hook types and adjust the materials to suit the lakebed and lead system. Now, for the shot itself, how do you attach it? Depending on the buoyancy of your hook bait, A shot size between number 4 and BB is ideal, with no one being a popular choice. You can attach it in 3 ways. The first and most popular way is to fold a piece of braid over the hook bend, then nip on the shot so it's secure but can still move. A second way is to use a length of marker elastic and pinch the shot onto the tag ends, then blob them to keep it in place. The third and easiest way is to slide a purpose-made tungsten weight over the hook point. Korda is soon to launch a specially molded version which should be in the shops at the beginning of 2025. So, when should you use this rig? Well, if you suspect that fish are ejecting your bait without getting hooked, the shot on the hook rig might be the solution. It's great for firm ground with an inline lead or even softer, silty terrain with a lead clip. This rig has proven itself in a variety of situations, from light to heavy baiting, and on clean ground like gravel, firm silt, or clay. Just remember, the hook point sits on the bottom, so always check its sharpness if you're fishing on tougher terrain like gravel. Finally, a word on versatility, this rig can be used all year round. It has excellent anti-tangle and reset properties, so you can always trust it will be perfectly presented. Unlike the spinner rig, which is ideal for pop-ups, this rig excels with bottom baits, giving it that extra edge in hooking mechanics. Here's how to tie the perfect shot on the hook rig according to Korda boss, Danny Fairbrass. Crimp a short 3 to 4 inch hook link with 20 pounds Korda boom fluorocarbon and a PTFE spinner swivel with no ring on it. Add a long tungsten anti-tangle sleeve to ensure everything is pushed away from or out in front of your chosen lead system. Next, add a drop of tungsten putty to the middle of the boom to ensure the hook link stays flat on the bottom. Note that it is critical to use a PTFE spinner swivel without a ring to ensure that the eye of the hook is as light as possible, as you want the sharp end of the hook to be the first contact point. The PTFE coating of the swivel helps the swivel to rotate more freely to ensure the hook point always turns down. Take a large D-rig kicker with a large micro rig ring swivel and slide it onto a size 6 or size 4 long shank X hook. Cutting the tapered end of the D-rig kicker will make it a bit easier to slide onto the hook and the spinner swivel. With a whipping knot, tie a length of braid to the shank of the hook. Slide the knot over to just between the bend and where the point of the hook starts. You can now cut off the tag end that's facing upwards. Next, take your preferred size split shot, and with a crimping tool, squeeze it tightly onto the remaining tag end of the braid. Cut off the remaining piece of braid around 5 mm from the shot and then burn and blob to secure the shot in place. As mentioned, you can use any lead setup with the rig, but Danny has found that a running inline lead setup with a long tungsten anti-tangle sleeve was the most effective in securing hooked fish into the bottom of his landing net. To wrap things up, this rig offers exceptional hooking properties and resets itself after aborted takes. If you've been on fish but struggled to get bites or suspect they're getting away with it, the shot on the hook rig could be exactly what you need. The rig evolution Danny experienced through underwater filming has revolutionized his fishing. Key tweaks like hook bait stability, rig camouflage, effective baiting, and the game-changing shot on the hook have been vital. Give the shot on the hook rig a go, and let us know how it works for you. This rig has stood the test of time for a reason. It just doesn't let you down when it matters most. To learn more and see the full story, check out the latest Korda underwater film, available now. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more fishing tips and reviews. Tight lines.